Hi, my name is Shayna, and I'd like to welcome you to my brand new podcast, Elevate Your Everyday. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Elevate Your Everyday with me, your host, Shayna Purcell. I am so blessed to have a guest on today that I knew exactly who I wanted to have on as soon as I started this podcast. He is a mentor. He's a friend. He's also my boss. So just remember that. And a big industry leader in the fitness industry and boxing industry. So I'd like to welcome to the podcast, Mr. Chris DaVeiga.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. So excited.
I told you I'd come.
I know you did. And you came on the right day.
Yep, on the right day.
He was messing with me all week long.
Monday, Thursday.
Yeah, he's like, what day? What time? I'm like, do not mess with me. I'm like, this is happening on this day. This time it's happening. And you made it.
I made it.
You made it.
I'm here.
So I've been with your gym, LFG, since about October, November now, which it feels like forever, and not in a bad way, in a good way.
Right.
But we'll talk about the gym a little bit later, but let's just get this out of the way. LFG really stands for Let's Fucking Go, right?
Let's fucking go. Yeah, yes.
Let's be honest.
So when we came up with the name, Google, when I typed in LFG Fitness, I just left it as LFG Fitness, nothing else.
Yeah.
They denied us. So then I had to go back in, and then I was like, all right, life, fitness, goals, and they approved it.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, let's just play with that, because when we came, and I'll get into the story of how LFG became, but, we were Everybody Fights. And
right.
And we'll
the
get
franchise,
into that. Yeah. When we got away from that, it was like, all right, what are we going to be? What are we going to do? And we were literally a month away from switching from Everybody Fights to our gym, but we had no name.
Oh.
So then, Lisa with Dro is a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
She came up with the LFG, and then I was like, all right, life, fitness, goals. And then we were like, all right, let's go, let's roll, let's go. It happened fast.
Yeah. But
fast.
it totally, I love it because life, fitness, goals is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you have, it's for life, it's for fitness, it's for your goals, it's all relative. But the fact that it also could be Let's Fucking Go works too, because everybody writes LFG. So technically you're getting free advertising all the time.
Right, all the time.
And I'll see other gyms and other people write LFG and I'm like, oh yeah, that's
WWE just started a program called LFG.
Oh, no way.
And it's called like Legends, Future, Greats or something like that. But Shawn Michaels was like, we all know what it stands for. It's Let's Fucking Go.
Yeah, exactly. So play on words, but, it's all right. Matt can't wear the shirt to school because,
But it stands for life, fitness, goals.
It does.
All the kids
but
wear
we all
their
know.
hoodie to school.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, I had to say that because I was like, come on, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Chris, because he's been in the industry for so long, he has done a few podcasts. I can't say that I'm the first one, but if you could just give us a little background on where you came from. You go as far back as you want, to what brought you to eventually Everybody Fights.
Yeah.
And then from there,
Yeah, so I started boxing in 2005. Just basically got out of shape, blew up to 300 and plus pounds.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was a big. I'm a big boy, but I was a bigger boy.
Wow.
So I was always a chubby kid growing up, always a stocky kid. And then once I went through college and, I stopped playing football, basketball, the sports, I just started eating and smoking weed and doing things I wasn't supposed to do and veered down the wrong path. And then as soon as I got back on the right path, I was like, all right, I got to get in shape. So I found a boxing gym in Southie, and then from there, I just got addicted to boxing.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to fight or anything. I just wanted fitness. I just wanted to get in shape. And I knew boxing was such a great workout.
It is such a great workout.
Yeah.
I was talking about it this morning with Alexa that was in your class.
Yeah.
And she actually realized that she had taken one of your classes in Southie, and she's like, oh my God. And we were just talking about what a great full body workout is. She said she was in the best shape of her life when she was boxing.
Yeah, like the first year I went from, 300 plus pounds. I lost 100 pounds in like the first year.
Wow.
And then I was like, all right, like now I got to start lifting and start doing this, start doing that. And then once I got into like really good shape, that's when I was like, all right, let me get in the ring and start sparring and start like, seeing if I could do this.
Yep.
But the one thing about boxing is, it's a tough sport.
It is.
It's very humbling.
I'm certainly not fighting. So if anybody is hoping to see me in the ring, I don't see that in my future. Chris probably agrees with you, but
no, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it. That's the thing. And then we'll talk about punch for Parkinson's too. But anybody can do it. Once you get the combinations down, it is a total body workout. Yeah. Just have to have the right teacher.
Right. No, coaching is, and there's way more coaches out there that don't know what they're doing.
Yes.
So you just got to be careful about, where you go. We're blessed to have what we have in our gym.
Yes, we are.
But yeah, so I started in Southie, and then, a couple years went by. I figured out I wasn't going to fight. I figured out how hard boxing was. I was like, all right, I had a day job selling insurance. So I would come to the gym in the morning, work out, go to work, and then I'd come back for another workout. And this is when I was just a member. Then.
How old were you?
I was 25.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 25.
I'm
I'm 43
days.
now.
25. Remember that?
I remember that. Yeah. So like I was doing that for a while, and then the owner of the gym asked if I wanted a free membership, work in the front desk, and that's how I got involved working in a gym. So I worked the front desk, and then a couple trainers left, and then they were like, maybe you want to be a coach, because I wasn't planning on fighting. I never wanted to.
Yeah.
I loved sparring. I loved training, being around the fighters. And he was like, yeah. So he, taught me all, like how to be a coach, what to do, what not to do. And then from there, I, started teaching classes, started training people. And then I went over to Everybody Fights, once I, basically kind of outgrew where I was.
Yep.
So I went to Everybody Fights. I met George Foreman III, who's, my mentor until this day. And he just basically, like, the first gym built the foundation, and he, put the fixtures on.
Yep.
The insulation, the siding, the plumbing. Like, he
built it.
He built, yeah. So he showed me, like, he was like, you're good, but these things you have to be able to do this, this, and this. So George, basically, tied me to his hand, and we just kept on running together. And Everybody Fights was just hot, and it was rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great gym, and it just blew up, I think, too fast.
Yep.
There wasn't enough. Like, so the thing, I think me and you had this conversation. The easy part about the gym, opening a gym, is finding the location and opening the gym.
Yep.
The hard part is finding you. Right?
Yep. Me. No.
Yeah, no, but for real. Like, finding you, like, everybody that is part of our gym knows, like, all the trainers we had that weren't good.
Yep.
And, that, I don't want to talk shit, but they sucked.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, they didn't fit the vibe. There's no ego in our gym. It's like, it's all, it's a community, right?
Yep.
So,
yeah, it's all about the community.
Yeah. So we, that's the hard part. Like, so we opened up so many gyms, and we're just filling the gym with all these random trainers, Instagram followers with, they don't know shit about nothing.
Yep.
And they're teaching classes, and it just got too crazy. And I, me now, like, I would open my mouth and I would say, this person shouldn't be doing that. That person shouldn't be doing this. And then we got to a point that, George was having his daughter, and he went on hiatus, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I was head trainer at the time, and I was, at a point, I don't hold back, and I have a loud mouth.
Really? I am stunned.
So somebody higher up than me took it upon themselves to do my 1-year review. And at that point, I was number one in, training, revenue, every category pretty much.
Yep.
Right. So they didn't want to give me my raise because I didn't fill out my Excel sheets, or I didn't follow protocol, or, like, imagine me telling you right now, like, how you teach class, right? Like, I let you do your thing, and you're you,
yep.
Right? You go over 90 seconds on the warm up. You went over on the round 1. You did this in round 2. You did this in round 3. And mind you, the person's not a trainer. telling me what to do,
Mm.
right? So it's like all these people above me that have never done this, right? So I got pissed and I said a couple things and I was this close to quitting because I asked, I was like, is this coming from George?
Right.
And they said, yeah. And I
Oh.
was like,
Hmm.
I don't believe that.
Let me ask.
So as soon as I got out of that meeting, I called George like right away, and he was like, "That wasn't for me," like this and that. I went right to his house. We had a conversation. He's like, "It's time for you to open up your own gym. Like you're done. Like we gotta."
Yeah.
So he created a position for me, right? Head of personal training, right? Like no such thing. So I stepped away from head trainer position, went to head of personal training for a year, and then me and him quietly tried to put together, the business plan, this, that, whatever. And he just basically like was my like guiding me. He first off said like, you don't have to do an Everybody Fights franchise. If you don't want to, I'll still help you. But I felt like I helped grow the company, so I
Yeah.
was like, it made sense,
Yeah.
right? So then we started growing that, working on that, and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Right. So I signed the lease for the gym a month before the pandemic.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
Such
So
timing.
yep. So we, went through that, and then Everybody Fights took a huge hit. George had to step aside, right? So, that's another story for another time.
Mm-hmm.
But he had to step aside. Another company ended up coming in and taking over
Like
and
a new
buying.
ownership
Yeah,
company. Yep.
yep. So a new ownership company, and Mike Moran, great guy. Like we worked together before, and we started trying to do this, but I was going left, they were going right, and it just didn't make sense
Yeah.
anymore. And I always give kudos to Mike because I asked to let me out of my contract, and he didn't have to, but he did. So,
Yeah.
So he let me go, and then LFG was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you knew you didn't want to stop doing what you were doing.
No.
You just knew that what you were in wasn't it wasn't enough for you, and it wasn't the direction you wanted to be in anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
I mean, LFG is special, it really is, and like I said, we'll get to that. But yeah, that's quite a story. And you still where LFG isn't a boxing gym, it's boxing and and the and is very like broad because we have a lot of options. But I feel like people shy away from it because they think excuse me, they think that it used to be in Everybody Fights, it must all be boxing,
Right.
and it's not.
That's what hindered us
Yeah.
when we first started coming to Salem. Everybody Fights. They thought they had to be a fighter, a boxer, because we did such a great job in the city of growing the brand to where it was that's what they were known for at the time. So we wanted to, because the thing is that people don't know, like fighters don't pay the bills. Right? Coaching fighters is fun.
Yep.
That's the fun part, right? If I could, have you, Julie, and Morgan, and Bella, and everybody just running the gym, and I could just go with Alex and Nino and just concentrate on that in the kids program. Like that's like my dream end all be alls to be like, I'll always be a coach.
Yeah.
I'll always teach classes, but the everyday grind of running a business, like you have to, if you're not at a certain point, you have to be like, all right, I have to put this to the side.
Right.
Right. So we concentrated on fitness because I was like, it was just me at the time. It was just me, Julie, Higgins, Brandon Higgins. Shout out to Brandon Higgins.
Brandon.
New father.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we had a small group, and then we were like, all right, let's just start, doing this and figuring it out as we go, as, most do. And then, like I would just like lean on George for help, or if I had questions, and obviously like other friends that are, entrepreneurs.
Yep.
I would bother them, call them, be like, this happened, that happened, what's this, what's that?
Yeah.
Like, because being part of a franchise, the franchise deals with all of that.
Right.
Part of the franchise fee.
Right. You pay for the franchise fees. They take care of your marketing, and you're this and you're that. Yeah.
Right. Like they take care of a bunch of those things. And then like, I just had to learn as I went, and it is what it is. But
you're much better off.
Oh yeah.
Much better off. Yeah. You have more freedom, and your ideas are yours, and you don't have to fit inside a little box.
Right.
So So you're a business owner, but you are very front stage, which is not typical because several business owners like to be in the backstage, especially in this industry. Some owners are coaches and whatever, but like you legit coached this morning, like 4 classes at 5 a.m. And then you like change hats, and then you're doing like the business stuff, and then you change hats, and then you're coming doing the podcast, and then you're gonna put your hat on later, and then you know what I mean. So, what is that like? Like, you must really enjoy what you do, and the people, the community, and everything, because just so easily could you just be like in the back, like crunching numbers and doing whatever, but like you are like the face. And I think that, not as just as a member, but as one of your coaches, that is so amazing and important for the community and for building the community, because you can say, yeah, I run this place, I own this place, but I'll see your ass at 5:10 in the morning.
Right. You see like going to the Golden Gloves, having 3 fighters represent LFG, getting home at midnight, right? Eating, shower, sleep 2 hours, wake up 5 a.m., teach.
Yeah.
I might have texted Shayna and said, hey, can you cover or whatever? And she couldn't do it.
I would have.
No, she would have. But it was I'm texting her at midnight. So at midnight, I'm like, hey, just by chance, I don't know if you're awake. But it's a lot. But the thing is what's the adage they say, when you do what you love, it's not work.
Right.
It's what it is.
You never work a day in your life.
Right.
Right.
And it's true. The other thing too is that I've been part of gyms that the owner would disappear and then it would just run amok.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, for me, it's like it was very important for me to work with my soldiers.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Work with your soldiers.
Yeah.
And
because I never say I'm your boss.
Right. I know. I know. That's such like a cheesy term, but
we work together.
We work together.
Every time I'm like, when people come in, I'm like, hey, I'm Chris. I don't say I'm the owner of this
right.
motherfucker.
No.
I don't say like, this is my motherfucking house. Right. Like, I don't do that shit. Could I? Yeah.
Shake my hand.
Yeah. Right. Right. The only thing you have to do is say hello. When you walk in the gym, say hello.
Say hello.
How are you?
How are you? It's so simple.
That shit.
I will literally be in a conversation with somebody, and if I see somebody walk in the door, I'm always like, hey.
Right.
Hey, how are you? Good morning.
You do a great job.
If I know them or not.
Right. To me, I want to say hello to as many people as possible and goodbye.
Yes.
Right? Because when they come to us, that's the best part of their day.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they start the day, end their day, middle of the day. So if they walk in and we're a bag of shit and we don't,
you can't take everybody's got their weight that they're carrying.
Yeah.
But I always say, and I haven't been in the industry as long as you have, but I always say you check your shit at the door.
Yep.
For the next however many hours you're going to be there coaching, like you are there for them. Like they could have lost their, somebody in their life, their dog could be sick. They had a shitty day at work. Or on the flip side, they can't wait to be there because they can't wait to tell you that like they're going to be a grandmother or like, just it's you're their therapy.
Right.
And as we know, like therapy in whatever form it is so important. I was just talking to one of our members today because I hadn't seen her for a while, and I texted her. I'm like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And she had a hip thing going on, and I just wanted to make sure that she knew that she was missed and noticed because and that like you're cared about. Right. Like even if you're not in the gym, like we notice when you're not there.
Oh, yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how many classes a week you take. Like.
Right.
We know when you're not there, and we'll tell you, be like, where the hell have you been?
Exactly. Right. We want
in
to
a
know.
good way.
Right.
But
because we care.
We care.
Right. A lot of gyms, they don't care. The trainers don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Owners don't give a shit. They just collecting their money, their dues.
Yep.
And it's like, like when somebody leaves our gym for whatever reason, I want to know why.
Right. Yeah.
And thank the Lord, it's always like moving or
right,
whatever.
Moving or baby.
But it's like, did I offend you? Did Shayna say something?
Yeah.
Did Julie say something? Who said something? And thank God it's never been that, knock on wood.
Right.
But it's like, like we care about our community.
Right. Yeah. And I think that probably has been something like, you've probably always felt that way. And that's why it translates through to your business now.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about the boxers, because they are a big part of our community. And I'll let you know all the details, but I do know we kind of brought in there were 2 boxing gyms that closed.
Yeah, actually now
well, 3.
Yeah.
And they've, come over to us and are now part of the LFG family.
Yeah.
And for me, like not knowing anything about the boxing world prior to working here, I can't say enough like good things about the people that these boxers are.
Yeah.
Like no matter what level they're at, from like the Rashidis of the world to like, everyone is so kind, so humble. The coaches, and Alex are so, what do you need? Need us to move? What do you need? Where you got, they're always like considerate of what else is going on in the gym.
Right.
Because
so the thing is that like real fighters, most of them are very humble, right? They're all confident. Like Mike, obviously, we know Mike. Salsa Mike. Very, he's a confident dude, but he's respectful.
Yes.
Like he doesn't cross a line. Rashidi, ranked number 8 in the world.
Yeah.
Sweetheart. Right?
So nice. Oh my God.
Then you have, all the other fighters, right? Like
Vari,
Shine. Like everybody. And the thing is that like we all work great together, right? There's no egos, and everybody like warned me. But I already knew Nino. I knew Alex Rivera.
Yep.
Like I knew of them, and I was like, everybody was like, be careful of Nino, be careful of this one. And I was like, they never gave me a problem. And I was like, okay. And like, I always have to find out for myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, like.
Oh, there's no way you would let anybody and their fighters in there if they were not anything.
I go off
less.
Of vibe.
Yeah.
Right. And, Nino and Alex have always been good to me. Andrew, like, Alex's son.
Yeah. He's so good.
Been in the game since he was born.
Yeah.
But we have.
Literally.
Yeah. So it's like, having them, because, when LFG started, we were trying to get away from boxing a little bit. We had, Tess competing, and Luke and Kyle and Adonis. So we had like 5 to 10 amateurs, and we had our 2 pros, Leash Pike and Brandon Higgins. So we had, we weren't crazy in the boxing game, and I was kind of backing away.
Mm-hmm.
But then Nino and Alex, well, it all started with Mike sending a DM to us saying like, are you hiring? I work at another boxing gym. I'm trying to, get more hours, this, that, whatever. And then he goes, also, by the way, our gym closed. Can you, like, would you meet with Alex and talk about, working together? So, Alex came, Andrew came. They came first.
Yep.
We sat down with them. We worked out a deal for them to come in and work out at the gym. And then Nino, his was a little different. His was a nonprofit. The city, I believe in Lawrence, the building was condemned. They were trying to find them a new home. But the thing about a gym is that, like, if you don't have anywhere to go, like, what are you going to do?
Right.
Right. So he came and was like, like, he already worked with Alex. He's known me for forever. So he's like, do you mind if we, like, come in too? And I was just like, yeah, let's give it a shot. Like, let's try. And, 6-7 months later, we're, it gets better and better.
Yeah.
They're good dudes.
They really are. Yeah. Like I said, super, super respectful. And I was able to go to one of the big fights at Mohegan Sun. Was it last month?
Yeah,
February.
Yeah.
And it was one of the coolest. I mean, I think it was cooler that I knew like several of the people fighting.
Yeah.
But it was just such a cool experience. And I was like, is this going to be like hard to watch? Yeah. Like, like the physical aspect of it.
It's not hard to watch when you guys are doing the damage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
so like
true.
when Mike and Rashidi and Shine and JV and they're putting a beating on the other guy, like it's the other side when your fighter's getting, hurt, that's what hurts.
Right. And so lucky for us, we just have really good fighters, really good people to watch. Yeah. And it's just such a great sport. There's a lot that is part of it. And Chris and I were talking about it before, like, when on here, we talk about health and wellness, and that includes mental health and mental wellness. And there's a lot that goes into training for a fight. And I've seen some of them from like day 1 of their training to day 0 of the, day of the fight, and how much work it takes to put into that. And like, that's not just physical, like it's mental too. Like you have to like, and I was talking to Alex, he's like, it's science. Like it's it's crazy what these guys put themselves through.
Yeah.
You know, when you're committed to something anyway, you're going to do whatever it takes to get to that end goal. But from being in the boxing scene for so long, like how do you see it like affecting like mental health and
Yeah, so it's like there's two parts, right? The coaching, right? Like the fighter and the coach have to vibe, have to get
Mhm.
along. And, like that's, like sometimes, for example, like I'm good at talking to people. So if like, for example, if, I'm not going to name names. So if like one fighter is having like an off day and they want to go in the back and talk and, they want to cry or whatever,
Yeah.
like that's one aspect of trying to like they have no choice when you have a fight set. There's no like days off.
Right. There's
You
no
like
days
if you're
off.
having a bad day, you got to go work out, work your ass off, go cry it out, get it out, and come back. Right? Like you can't just be like I'm gonna go home for the day. I'm just gonna take half a class. Like
Yeah.
no, like you're gonna be on a big stage on pay-per-view, or you're gonna go to the Golden Gloves.
Yep.
And all these guys, I've just seen them fight through like all the adversity, and they have day jobs,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Like, they have day jobs. Like, no, it's not like they're at home, friggin' drinking bottles of champagne,
Right.
flying on private
No.
jets. Like that's not how it works.
Mike? No,
No,
I'm just kidding.
he should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it's true though. Like it's a very emotional sport.
Yeah.
Like it's, like sometimes you're so overwhelmed and it's a very male dominated sport. We do have some kick ass females that do it too.
But that's changing. That's changing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's emotions happen and sometimes you can't control it. And if you're working that hard and you're tired and you haven't eaten or whatever, like there's that stigma where like you got to hold it together, but you don't have to.
Right.
You can take a beat
Yeah.
and go somewhere and just, I guess you're punching it out, you're punching things. So I guess that does help for your like getting your aggression out. But like it's an emotional thing too.
But it's like imagine sparring or like hitting the bag like in your head, like you're getting ready for a fight, like on a big stage, but like somebody just passed away.
Yep.
You're going through a breakup, you lost your job,
Yep.
whatever, and you have
just have
no choice but to put that in your back pocket and just go. Like, all right, let's go. We'll figure it out later. Let's go. We got to go. We got to go. We got to go.
Yeah.
And that's where the coaches come in.
Yeah.
Right. Like they help you guide you and try to figure out, like, let's try to help, however we can.
Yeah.
Like Alex has a million stories of, him, like, going to pick somebody up at 2:00 in the morning because they had a breakdown or, sitting in the car and he had to go to work or whatever.
Yep.
Like, it's a lot. It's 90%
It's a commitment.
Yeah.
It's such a commitment.
It's 90% mental.
It is.
The working out is I want like it's not easy, but that's the easier part. Being able to walk in front of all these people that you don't know, talking all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like going to the Golden Gloves, like you have all these like out of shape fat motherfuckers yelling.
Yep.
Hit him with the jab, hit him with the fucking cross, and it's like they've never thrown a punch in their life.
Right. And they have to like block that out
Yep.
and focus on what they're doing.
Right.
And that's what I was talking to Chris about before. And I've been doing some mitts classes and I was doing a class with Mike and he was moving so fast. I'm like, you're so fast. He goes, yeah, but you gotta be like, you're on, like you have to be on at all times. Like you have to drown out the noise and just focus on what you're doing. He's like, and it's all just repetition. You know what I mean? And I totally got it. I was like, I didn't totally get it.
No. So,
but I got it.
Fun story. So Shayna, she's a great trainer, great instructor, and she's been dying to teach boxing. And I was like, let me just work with you a little bit. I was like, just a little bit, because what sets us aside, like I told you, from the titles and all the other, shit boxing gyms, is that our instructors know the basics and they can teach the basic parts of boxing.
Right.
Footwork, like this, that, whatever.
It's a lot.
It's a lot now that you know.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, I just need you to learn the basics and you're good to go. I know you can teach the class.
Yeah.
Like I have no doubts. You're great at what you do. And then we did mitts and you started learning, and then you just, started working.
And you're like, whoa.
Right. Right. But now, like,
Yeah.
like now you can confidently go in a class and teach somebody how to stand, how to walk.
Yep.
How to do this, how to do that. Because my worst fear is somebody's like, well, how do I push off the back foot, throw the jab, this, that, whatever. And you're like, go ask Chris. I have no idea. So like,
Chris isn't here.
Yeah.
It's Sunday.
Yeah. Sunday's my day.
Sunday's his day.
Yeah. But the other thing before I forget, the female boxers.
Yes.
In my experience, I'm going on year 17.
17 years.
Yeah. So female boxers are, I don't want to say easier to coach, but a little bit like they just work a little harder.
Mhm.
Sorry, guys.
No,
It is
I
what it
mean, it's a woman's world.
Yeah. So like Tess, like
Beyonce said it.
Tess Watler, she's very talented.
So
badass,
talented.
Right? Training her is very, very easy for me. She makes my job very easy.
Yep.
Because I just tell her, here's the outline. I need you here Monday, there Tuesday, here Wednesday, here Thursday, this. Right? All my guys, I have to, did you do this? Did you do that? No. Did you do that? No. Did you do this? No. I'm like, what the fuck? Right? Like, why?
Yeah, ladies.
Yeah. You know?
And I've watched Tess and Denise spar.
Yep.
And it's like, it's badass. Like,
Yeah.
they're not, it's just like the guys, it's the same foundation. It's the same, you're doing the same work.
Yep.
Just women versus men. It's like, but
Yeah.
that's because women can do anything.
That is true.
And a lot of, and what you said, like boxing is 90% mental. It's like, I think of running, and I've ran for so long, and running is 90% mental.
I hate
Like
running.
you love running. You run. Sometimes you run.
Sometimes. Yeah.
But, from doing it for so long, I can speak from experience, like it is so mental. Like it's the training. Like you have to follow the plan. You have to do the training. But if you convince yourself that you can't do it, or your head's not in the game, you're not going to get to you're running for 26.2 miles. You're not even going to get to mile 10.
Right.
Like you have to, it's like such a mental game. You have to have that focus.
One step in front of the other.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So that's a nice little coordination. So you've seen, because you've been in this game for 17 years, you started when you were 5.
Yeah. I'm 43, man.
I'm going to be 43. You're a little bit older than me. I just said my name. I just said my age.
You look
Damn it. Like, how has the industry evolved over those 17 years? Like when you first started, I'm not even just saying like boxing, like you must have been in like doing some other type of fitness, throughout the years too.
Yeah,
like how has it evolved?
I've done it all, and it's just more science driven now.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like there's more supplementation, there's more, the infrared sauna,
Yep.
the cold tub, and like I know like people say they're fads, but there's science
Right.
backing all of this. And it's the issue that we run into is like the old school coaches versus new school.
Yeah.
And like everything in between,
Mhm.
right? So it's like, you have coaches saying like, oh no, you just have to fight through the pain, and you got to be a man about it or whatever. And then you have the other guys that, you have to, foam roll, you have to stretch, and you have to do the cold plunge.
Yep.
You have to
You got to.
you have to there's a middle. Like, can you overdo it? Yeah, on both ends, but you have to find what works for you. Everybody's different. Every client, member, fighter,
Yep.
every single person is different. So like when I train, a Heather David, or I train, Tess or whoever, Adonis, whoever it is, they don't have the same programming, and they don't have the same recovery either.
Right.
You have an older woman like Heather. Sorry, Heather.
She looks fabulous.
She's great, right?
She's strong.
Her transformation, right?
Yeah.
She's friggin', I'm not going to say her age, whatever, but she's, pulling 500-600 pounds on a sled.
Yeah.
That I know men that can't do that.
Yeah.
Right. So it's you just being able to, find the right formula for the right person.
Right.
Right. So like what works for you doesn't work for me, doesn't work for Julie, doesn't work for Morgan,
Yep.
or whatever.
Yep.
So it's just finding that balance.
And knowing your client.
Right.
And knowing your member.
Right.
And, making sure that you're meeting their needs. And, you could have a class of 24 people, but everybody is at a different level.
Right.
And that's another great thing about LFG is that it literally is for everybody.
Yeah.
Any age, any background, any fitness level, anything.
My mom does it.
Betty,
Yeah.
I was going to bring up Betty.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring in Betty.
Yeah. Oh,
She
yeah.
she needs her own podcast.
That's another episode.
Another episode with Betty.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Let's quickly touch upon family because that's very important.
Yep.
And we talk about elevating our everyday. I know Betty, I was going to say, bring up Betty is Chris's mom, and she's a huge part of the gym. She was walking on the treadmill yesterday when I left. She was doing in her little sweatsuit.
Yeah.
And you have a beautiful son, Cristiano.
4 years old. Yeah.
He's 4. And I fortunately get to see him at the gym, and he is just full of as much energy as his father. It's great. What is that work-life balance like? So we talked about, all the things you do, how sunrise to sundown, you are on doing something. Like how do you manage time for family? How do you manage time for yourself? Yeah. Because you have to take care of you too.
Yeah. Every day is different.
Yeah.
You got the thing is I always make the joke, I'm a hard person to find, right? Because, obviously we have our schedules, but if I have my son one day,
mm-hmm.
I have to block off, I know when I'm going to have my son, with the scheduling and how everything works. So I'm all right, this day I have to block off from here to here because I have my son and that's important.
That's your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd rather work 16 hours on a day that I don't have him
mm-hmm.
and only work 3 when I do have him.
Yes.
Right. So that right now, that's how it works. And, life happens. Things change.
Yeah.
His mom might call me and say hey, can you, pick him up this day instead of that day? And then I have to change.
Yeah.
Right, things change. And, life happens and you just roll with it,
yep.
But finding, I might work out at 9 a.m. one day, 10 o'clock at night, because I don't have to wake up on a Sunday.
Yep.
Just whenever I can. So people always ask what time do you work out? Whenever
I can.
Whenever I have a block. Whenever I have a block of
but
time.
you make time for yourself.
You have you have to.
And you have to make sure you're eating and you're hydrating.
Yeah.
And
I live life 80-20 sometimes. Depends. But yeah. So I try to do
on the weekend.
I try to do Monday through Friday as clean as possible. And then the weekend is when I have my fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I, indulge and, smoke a little weed.
Yeah. Have a couple drinks.
Yeah. Just unwind a little bit.
Yeah. As you should, because you work so hard. There's no why would you ever want to work so hard to not be able to enjoy life?
Right.
You can't be working all the time. You can't be in that frame of mind all the time because you have to be working for something. I'm working for this, or towards this, you have to enjoy life in whatever that means to you in some way. Because if you don't, you'll just implode and you won't be good for anybody.
Right.
We know it's hard to, get up and coach classes on 2 hours of sleep.
Right.
But you do it.
You got to do it.
You got to do it.
And it's always a work in progress. And don't get me wrong, you fall off. But the one thing I'm going to tell you guys is I always hear I had a couple bad weeks or whatever. Just get back on.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter that you had a bad week or a bad month or whatever it was. It's what are you going to do? Stop? And what's the alternative? Getting diabetes and, dealing with this and getting cancer or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
It's you fall off. It's it's okay. You gain 10, 15 pounds. Okay. Let's work through it. Let's get back on track. The scale doesn't matter. Let's just, it's about feeling
the scale
good.
does not matter.
No,
you hear me?
Yeah.
The scale does not matter.
Nope.
I mean, for the boxers, it matters for their weight.
Yeah.
But the scale does not matter. And I tell all my clients that I would rather, if you care about we'll do measurements or whatever, I'd rather you see and feel the change in your body versus the number on the scale. It's something that you should never fixate on. And I will preach that till the end of time.
Right.
But I feel like you said, people are afraid. They're or people look back and they're oh, I was a size 0 last year or 2 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever, or I was so much stronger that you cannot look backwards.
No.
If you haven't worked out in a year and you're just starting to work out again, great. Good for you. And guess what? It's going to come back. Yep. There's such thing as muscle memory.
Right.
It will come back to you. And maybe it won't be the same because as we age, our bodies change and things change and whatever. And that's okay. It's a new normal. It's a new goal. It's new everything. Just like Chris said, just start again. There's no harm, no foul in starting all over again.
Right.
It's going to take some time. It's going to be frustrating.
And modify.
Yeah, modify.
Work around whatever it is. We have members that they're oh, this hurts, that hurts. I'm don't do it. Do this, this, and this. They're no, I want to fucking do this because this person's doing that. And I'm all right, go fuck yourself. All right,
okay, right.
Have a good day. See you later. All right. That's good.
Fortunately, we don't have like a lot of that kind of vibe.
No,
So
right. Thank God. Yeah, thank God.
we have the best members
Yeah.
ever in the world.
Yeah. No,
And
we are very,
I will
very
list
lucky.
them all off if I have to now.
No, we are very
You know who
lucky.
I'm talking to. I'm talking to you. You guys are amazing.
No, we are very lucky. Our community is amazing.
I feel very blessed, and I tell you this all the time, like to be part of the community, to be part of the team, to feel like such a big part of the team. I've worked in many different gyms over my career, and it's important to feel like you're included.
Right.
And it's important to feel like, oh, like you want to bounce something off of me. Like that's so important to me, and that's what you guys do. And you call on me when you need help.
Yep.
Because you know I'll be there for you. And that's like in life, like, when you do something that you love, like that's just so important.
Yep.
We've talked about LFG a lot, and we can go back, but I want to talk about your new nonprofit, which is called Champions of Change, which is amazing. Because if you don't know, Chris has done a lot for kids and underprivileged kids all throughout his entire career in life. And this nonprofit that they just started is going to take it to the next level. So talk a little bit about that, and then some of the events that we have coming up.
Yeah, so we so Champions of Change, we just started it. We just literally got the paperwork approved. So happy for that.
Awesome.
But for the last say year and a half, I've been talking to President of USA Boxing, Alex. Different Alex.
Yep.
So he was telling me about what he was doing in Lynn, and working with the Boys and Girls Club, and I was lucky enough to be friends with the CEO of Salem Boys and Girls Club.
Yep.
That's where we started our, Marco Breu, he's my boy. Shout out to Marco. But he got us a grant to get us going, and our program, started growing based off of that. So the first, kids program.
Yeah. So we have a kids program that runs twice a week.
No, so it's 4 days a week.
4 days a week.
Yeah,
it's 4 days a week.
It's Monday through Thursday from 4 to 5. Bella does strength and conditioning on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then Amy, Mike, myself, and a bunch of other volunteers do Tuesday, Thursdays, all boxing oriented.
Yep.
But that's how the kids program at our location started for LFG. What opened my eyes more was having Alex and Nino come in, because there's kids that can't. We only have 6,200 square feet.
Right.
We can only fit so many.
Which is a lot.
Right. So,
you say only, but that's a lot.
No, right. So, but the thing is that
you can only fit so many people in that space.
So it's like I saw all these kids that couldn't afford to come to LFG, or they couldn't afford gloves, or even the kids that are in there now that can't afford shoes. They want to do this, they want to do that, and they're so talented, but they can't. So there's no programs around, especially up here, that are geared towards boxing and helping kids. Like boxing, is therapy. So it's like there should be more done through boxing for kids and, health and wellness in general.
Yeah.
But it's
keeping them moving.
Yeah.
They're moving.
Keeping them moving. And what we're trying to do with Champions of Change is raise enough money that we can, we're going to try to run, a couple fights a year, 3 to 5. Nino wants to run 10. Nino.
Surprising. Yeah, Nino with his.
Nino's like, we're going to run 8 to 10 fights. We're going to be in Lawrence outside. We're going to be over here in Somerville.
Oh my God.
We're going to be here. And then I'm just like, all right, pump the brakes. Let's just do one.
Idea guy.
One. Yeah.
Big idea guy.
Yeah. So June 7th is Showdown in Salem. That's going to be our first fight, amateur fight. So we're going to have 15 bouts, and we're going to be looking for local businesses, local sponsors.
Yep.
So me and Shayna and the rest of the crew will be knocking on your door, looking for some checks.
Tap, tap.
Yep. But yeah, all the money goes directly to the Champions of Change.
Yep.
And that will pay for, memberships, equipment, travel for kids to go to nationals.
Yep.
And also on the other end, kids that don't want to fight, right? The kids that just want to box just for themselves.
Yep.
So any child that their family can't afford to get them into boxing, well, Champions of Change will, jump in and help.
That's incredible.
And I also got that from, working with Ryan Roach and Punch for Parkinson's.
Yes, Punch for Parkinson's.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that too.
Yep. We also, Punch for Parkinson's, we've been together now going on 4 years. So Punch for Parkinson's is a great organization. They raise money similar type of. They do like 3 to 4 fights a year on a bigger scale. So basically, say like somebody like yourself, you would come to me. I would train you for 4 months. You would fight somebody at your own age, your own level, and then you would go to Big Night Live or some arena and fight in front of your friends and family. The catch is you have to raise money.
Right.
There's a minimum. I forget what the minimum is.
It's almost like running for a charity for the marathon, like you're raising money.
Exactly. So there's a minimum. So basically, like, you'd raise the money and then you would fight, and that goes to Punch for Parkinson's. Punch for Parkinson's pays for Parkinson's patients' memberships. So we have 3 patients that have been with us since day one.
Yep.
Tara, Cynthia, Ange.
I love seeing them.
Yeah. So they're Parkinson's patients, and boxing is their outlet, their fitness.
But there's like science behind it.
Oh yeah. They all have different doctors, and every single one of their doctors through boxing and strength and conditioning have seen improvements.
Yeah.
In their cognitive and their motor skills.
Yep.
So like we know it's working because you have 3 different doctors saying it's working.
Yeah. That's incredible.
So it's like it's a cool thing to watch. It's a cool thing to see. And like when you're having a bad day and they walk in for their workout, it's like, all right, Chris, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's like having a bad day. It's like,
And they're so like dedicated and motivated. They're so sweet.
Yeah.
So so I love that we're a part of Punch for Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And I love that Champions of Change is going to be, just kind of like
it's
another
it's going to be another great thing we do for the community, for all the local, New Hampshire and Mass.
Yep.
So it'll be, Lawrence, Lowell, any families that want to apply and be part of LFG.
Yep.
Be part of Champions of Change. They can, and there'll be more information as the weeks go. But yeah, like it's just like trying to, take it to a different level, because I just don't think there's enough done with boxing. Because I don't think people, like, not everybody boxes, but I think if everybody tried to box at least, I think the world would be a better place.
Yeah. The world would be a better place. Yes. And we're having a fundraiser class on Saturday, March 29th at 9:30.
Yep.
So it's $30 a ticket to get into class. So it is, you buy and all the money goes towards the nonprofit.
Yep.
We're going to have, so you get to do the 30-30 class, which is one of my favorite classes. It's 30 minutes of bags and 30 minutes of strength. And it's such a fun class. It's every Saturday, by the way, at 9 a.m. with DJ Lumi.
Party.
Yeah. DJ Lumi. Shout out to DJ Lumi. Lumi. So that'll be on the 29th. We have a ton of raffles. So you can buy raffle tickets, and we'll have some refreshments. And Lumi will be there too. It'll just be a great time. Yeah. We want to fill the room. Yep. You don't have to be a member of LFG to participate. Nope. So if you are ever thinking about trying it out, we do offer a free class for any first time trier. But it's a good opportunity to come and see the gym, come and take that class, which is one of my favorites.
Shout out to Lacey and Christine for sponsoring the event.
Yes.
They came to us, and they asked if they could be a part of it, and shout out to them for they're going to be the first fundraiser.
And it's going to be great. I've been a part of a lot of fundraiser classes and different events and everything, and just the way it's shaping up, it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's all for the kids and a great cause.
And if you can't make the event, you can still donate.
Yep. And I'll make sure to link that on my Instagram page as well. And I just want to point out too about LFG is that we do have bags, but we have strength classes, strength and conditioning classes. We have functional mobility classes, which are great. We have, trying to think, power endurance, which is more cardio focused. We have road strength classes, which is strength and cardio.
Infrared sauna.
Vormatec
boots, recovery.
Yep. We have a massage therapist on staff, which she's incredible.
Yep,
Elena. And her mom's a member.
Yep, Regina. Yep.
They're great.
Yeah, we're a family business.
Yes, we are a family business. So if any of those things sound good to you, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I can point you in the right direction. Come take one of our classes. We have such a great staff from top to bottom. Like it's just an overall great experience, and I'm very fortunate to be there. I'm fortunate that, a lot of my great friends have come over and joined the family as members, and I started doing personal training too. So that's
Shayna's been killing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying. I'm trying to get to level up. Just trying to level up. It's good when you're surrounded by inspirational people. It inspires you to be better. And on that note, since the topic and the name of this podcast is Elevate Your Everyday, what is either, you do two ways, a piece of advice or a quote that resonates with you, or something that you do every day to elevate your everyday?
So, all right, piece of advice. Don't listen to the noise.
Mm-hmm.
Don't listen to the noise. The grass is always greener. Water your own grass,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't look over there, look over here, look where you're at, right? It's about being healthy and it's about being happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Healthy and happy. Nothing else matters.
Yep.
Right. So it's like those are the two things that I try to preach the most, because like your money comes and goes. So it's like your health, you only got one.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
So true.
What do I do? Like I just try to get me some me time. You know? I love me some me. Like I tell everybody, I'm my favorite person. I'm my best friend. I love me some me time.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, chilling. Julie will be like, oh, okay, I need some me time.
No, I didn't want to do that. Nope. Got it. And it is important to, and I guess like people could translate that as the gym could be your me time.
Right.
Like you're a mom with like 3 kids running around, or you work, 12 hours a day.
Go for a walk.
Yeah. Being active can be your me time, no matter what that is. And I love that.
Yeah. Well, take care of you.
Yeah, you do have to take care of you, because you only have one life. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I loved it.
It was great. Right, Ralph? It was great.
Proud of you.
Oh, thank you. And I really am so thankful for you giving me an opportunity, taking a chance on a kid that had a really hard year last year. A kid.
Okay.
I called myself a kid.
We are kids.
That had a really hard year last year, and you really helped pull me out of it. So I will forever be grateful for you guys and Julie. And Julie's such a huge part too. I told her she should be here too, and she was like, "That's really Chris's thing."
We'll get her here. We'll get her here. She loves to be behind the scenes. She does.
But she's also been.
You can catch her at Lululemon on the big poster board.
Yes, you can. Yeah. She's the ambassador, and she's right on the wall. Yeah. There she is. But she has also done a lot for me, so I'm very appreciative of you guys.
You have a good crew.
Yes. So this has been the 4th episode of Elevate Your Everyday. Next week will be a solo episode with me, getting a little emotional, getting a little, real. But as always, I appreciate you all, and I hope that you're doing something every day to elevate your everyday. Thank you. See you soon.